Whoop. Hello crawlers, and welcome to another episode of Historic Pub Crawls, where today, even though it's a little bit rainy and a little bit misty and I'm a little bit hungover, I am in the picturesque Dingle, which is one of the most beautiful towns in all of Ireland. Now, we actually stopped last night, flew into Cork, and then stopped in Killarney and went out for some beers just for fun. That turned into a lot of whiskey. But I woke up this morning, I do not want to see another pint of Guinness in my life. Now, I've never been here before, so I'm really looking forward to exploring this and sharing these amazing pubs with you, and then having that route come out in my next book, Historic Pub Crawls Through Ireland. You see we've got an old copy here, look, as always, reasonably prepared. I've got 12 amazing pubs here, and we'll fill you in with some facts as I go along through the route. Where we parked up the car to walk here to just kind of start this video and start this route, I must have walked past 30 pubs. So it's hard to try and pick the best 12. I hope you like them. There are some absolute legendary pubs to come. We've got like Foxy John's, we're going to end up in Dick Macks, and then a whole bunch of others which have got names that I'm not going to start trying to pronounce now. I'll worry about that after I've gone into the pub and I've met some of the team and they can tell me how to pronounce it. It is hopefully going to clear up. One of the jokes about Irish weather is that you get all 4 seasons in one day. Well, we've definitely had a bit of heat this morning, and then on the drive over, as you can see, it got pretty cloudy, pretty misty. The water's coming off, the rain's coming at us off the wild Atlantic way. It should be a lot of fun. Right, the first pub is over there, and I'm going to head to it to get the first pint of the day.
It's the start of the best square mile of pubs anywhere in the world.
It's the Marina Inn. It's pub number 1 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get my first pint of the day.
Now, it might overlook the natural harbour that's made this an important trading port since the 16th century, but that's not why we're here. We're here for beer, and I grabbed something local from the Dick Macks brewery that I visit later in this route. Now, the pub was originally built in the 19th century when it would have served as lodgings for local fishermen, and it wasn't until the mid-1990s that the Kavanagh family took it over and turned it into the pub that it is today. Now, whilst the walls are filled with memorabilia, it's upstairs that offers a great view of this colourful town, even if good old Irish weather meant that it looked a bit miserable.
Well, it might not have a beer garden, but this is one of the best views you're going to get on a sunny day. I can just imagine these beautiful rolling green hills.
And this is just the perfect spot for visitors to the Ocean World Aquarium before they head back up into the town to all the amazing pubs that await them. And who cares where you're from when this is the destination?
We can't show you it, I'm afraid, mainly because there's lots of children climbing on it, but there's a dolphin sculpture just out there, which is a tribute to a lone bottlenose dolphin that used to come into this marina for many, many years, which is very unusual because normally they'd be in like I think it's a pod. It's a collective noun for dolphins. And then he suddenly disappeared just around about the same sort of time as COVID. It's busy already. It's 12:30 and the streets are teeming full of people. You can see like the roads immediately blocked up. But this is so picturesque. It's what I was told when I was told to come here to Dingle. Everyone said if you're going to write a book on Ireland, you have to come to Dingle. It's so picture perfect for a country whose drink is like a black hole. This will be one of the most picturesque, pretty places we are going to visit. Now, the next 2 pubs, I don't think are expecting us because, believe it or not all of them are on the internet. These are proper, traditional, hardcore old pubs. So we're going to go up now and have a look and see if they'll let us in, see if we can get a pint, see if we can do a bit of filming. Right, look at this. Look at this, Luke. It's gorgeous.
I'm still not convinced that this icon is actually a pub.
Bob Griffith's Bar. It's pub number 2 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Opened in 1937, it's hard to think that anything here has changed, because it used to be a house with the owner selling fish out the front and using the yard to the rear to get the nets off the boats and dry them here to prevent them rotting. But that's not why we're here. We're here for beer, and they kindly poured me a pint of the black stuff before I spied the dartboard and hit my customary 180, and then I headed up the sort of rickety stairway that made me feel grateful it was only pub number 2. And there's very little that's changed here, as every uneven surface, original fireplace, and soot seeping through the walls of the neighbour's chimney makes this entire place feel like you've stepped into a time machine. And after a brief hiatus following the owner Bob's retirement, this remarkable pub was restored and reopened in 2019. And it's just the sort of spit and sawdust old school wet lead boozer that when I saw the American tourists pop their head in and ask about food, the boss said he usually blends it, puts it in a pint and calls it a beer. Add this to your list of pubs not to miss.
This little mist in the air is keeping me nice and fresh. That was insane. We are definitely coming back here later on tonight. They've got some live music on, so I'll be going in there to have some proper pints. Whilst we were in there, a couple of American tourists walked in asking if they did food. He said, yeah, we do. It's just we liquidise it here and we call it a pint. Great landlord, great character. And I tell you what, like the rooms, particularly when we went upstairs, everything was so wonky. Like everything, it was so uneven that you, even though we're only 2 pubs in, instantly felt drunk. I did not feel safe getting down those stairs at all, but it is worth the risk. Right, next pub, we've just heading up here. Paddy, Bawn, Brosnan's. Let's go check it out.
The green and gold made this the perfect pub to celebrate Kerry's mighty victory.
Paddy, Bawn, Brosnan's. It's pub number 3 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Getting its name from the legendary Gaelic footballer from Dingle, who captained Kerry to several all-Ireland victories in the 1940s. These days it's run by the sports stars' relatives, Brian and Connor. And whilst I'm always here to show you the places, not the people, even this early, there were revellers enjoying the latest victory.
It's just another brilliant pub, isn't it? This is great.
But back to the bar, and it was hard to turn down another cracking pint of Guinness, which I enjoyed with the locals, wondering why on earth this Englishman felt that he could come and write a book about their famous pubs. But there was more to see, because out back, past this covered beer garden, is another wall that gave an artist an excuse to fill it with something beautiful. And we'll be seeing more of that, because it's one of the most colourful towns in the world. Next time you're near, stop here for a beer.
Absolutely love those pubs. What a great run of 3 pubs. I don't think we're going to be disappointed at any point here in Dingle. Now, I just want to take a quick second to introduce the channel to new viewers. Now, a couple of years ago, I decided to turn 20 years worth of pub crawls around London with my friends and family into a self-published book that sold thousands of copies on Amazon before getting luckily picked up by a publisher and making some new books all around the world. So if you haven't got them already, please follow the channel and pick up the books. That's what funds me to do this and explore more pubs. That's Historic Pub Crawls Through London, volumes 1 and 2. There is an England book, there's a New York book, and of course, I am here very specifically for a book, Historic Pub Crawls Through Ireland, which covers some amazing places. So pick up the book, but also check out the channel for the rest of the routes, because in Ireland, we've been to Dublin. It was so nice. I went there twice. Galway, Cork, Limerick, Kinsale, Waterford, even popped up to the north to go to Derry and Belfast and the US. So please pick up the books. This is why I do this. It's so much fun. Pubs are the heart of most towns and communities across this wonderful planet, and come and see some more of them with me. Right, let's go to the next pub. Green post boxes.
Pub cats are better than pub dogs any day of the week. Tell me I'm wrong.
It's another pub where they challenged me to say the name, but it's O'Flaherty's, and it's pub number 4 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Opened in 1957 in a building that dates back to the 1860s, this pub is based around one large room that became a key venue for the lively local music scene, and as well as being the location of impromptu trad band performances, it is hard to take your eyes away from the cornucopia of knickknacks and memorabilia that adorns the walls and clutters the shelves. Where there's a bar, there's a beer, and it was another round of Guinness before treading the original Valentia Island flagstone floors out into the large garden where I couldn't keep my hands off this gorgeous pub. Now, given the occasion, there was the perfect chance to bump into 3 lads, all nursing their hangover caused by the celebration of their Gaelic football win just 48 hours earlier. And the route never ends when you're drinking with friends.
Ben, did I tell you that story? I want you to come on my back and then come over my shoulder and then spin round and come in my face really hard. Yeah, it was the worst. Oh, we're in chaos today, really, because even though I'm quite organised and I've got my 12 pubs, we are very aware that there is a big parade tonight because we've just met, actually, a couple of the players from the Kerry team who won the All-Ireland final last night, and they're in Dingle and they're going to have a big parade. So we're going to try and mix it up a little bit now. So even though it's the last pub on the route, I think it'll be too busy to film later. So we're going to go to that and then kind of merge ourselves, mooch around, I don't know, we'll figure something out. But funny story, we just met 3 of the players in the last pub. And bless them, I said to them, because they're all amateurs, I said, well, haven't you got jobs to go back to at some point? And the one chap said, he said, yeah, he said, I've taken the week off. And the other one said, taking the week off, you silly sod. Right, he's on the dole. I won't tell you which player that was. Right, let's go. Well, no idea what this way is going to... Hopefully, this will go into the Courthouse next, which is actually the next building on the route. But we're going to have a little wander, go and film a couple of pubs, and that way it'll be all out of kilter from the times and the daylight and the weather. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's go.
I won't bring the Guinness guru here, and you can't really blame me.
I think they're taking a mickey out of me with these names. It's the Courthouse, which is pub number 5 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
A relatively new pub in the area. It only opened in 2011 when the new owners, the O'Sullivans, relocated from Houston in the US. Now, I'm not a big guy, but walking through this pub that used to be a house made me feel like I'd crawled into a hobbit's burrow, because 7 months post-hair transplant had this bird's nest on my head, brushing the ceiling that is adorned with messages of goodwill, notes from lovebirds, and profanities, which meant I couldn't resist making my own mark that maybe you can spot next time. But back to the bar, and for some reason, I let Martha behind the bar convince me that something local meant a big banging IPA at a whopping 7.1%. And although the trad band was imminently due to turn up ahead of the crowds, we can't be stopping when we've got to crawl.
Okay, we on? Yep, I shouldn't be yawning this far into the pub crawl, but of course we've kind of messed up quite a lot because we knew it was going to be busy. So I've actually jumped ahead like probably about 5 pubs, just because we know that the winning All-Ireland Gaelic football team from Kerry will be doing a parade later on. And so we knew that like Dick Macks just would not be able to show that pub, it would be far too rammed. So instead we kind of jumped around and I went to a lot of the pubs. I'm quite a few pints deep in already, which is why it looks a little bit out of kilter, because technically from what you've been watching, we've only done 4 pubs. So we're heading to Muiris Dan's, which is apparently where most of the players are going to be staying tonight. I think it's going to be quite lively. There's a fighting chance we can go in and film a little bit right now. We're staying here and we're up in the loft in like a lovely shared room. This is gritty. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. After staying last night in bunk beds in Killarney, which was a bit much. So let's go and check out the next pub.
The Guinness here made PrimeMutton's Hall of Fame.
Muiris Dan's. It's pub number 6 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Well, it's no surprise that, like most of the pubs here, you're greeted with a strikingly colourful frontage. Now, inside, the pub, which was opened in the 1950s, still retains the original layout from its time when it was common to combine a pub with a grocery store, and in this place, also a butcher's. And whilst I can't quite get on board with the idea of a stinking, bleeding butcher's counter just a few feet from where I'm supping my pint, those days are long gone, and since not all heroes wear capes, the least I could do is grab a pint that Jason Hackett named as Dingle's Best. Now, the walls here are adorned with tributes to Kerry's all-conquering Gaelic football teams from years gone by, and whilst they were kind enough to put us up for the night, we were also joined by the winning team themselves, meaning the pub was rammed, the rooms were full, and if there wasn't going to be the patter of little feet in 9 months, well then at least they made some memories.
I mean, we need to film this a little bit. I'm completely lost track of where I am because we've been jumping around from pub to pub to pub to pub. And now I think it's going to be 7. I think it's this pub next. I don't even know how to say it.
I fell in love in an Irish pub. Can you guess what stole my heart?
An Drogihead Beag, a small bridge. It's pub number 7 on our Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Standing proudly on the corner at the heart of Dingle, it's impossible to miss this striking pub that's so bright you probably need shades just to look at it. Now, although it only recently became a pub as late as 1986, it's another that saw an old building being converted when the local residents got together and decided that 1 pub for every 10 residents is a crime against drinkers. And where there's a bar, there's a beer. And yep, it was time for another pint of the black stuff before I had the chance to explore this vast building that has served many roles, from being a sweet shop to a butcher's, and at one point it was even a milking parlour. But these days you can expect to find a DJ in the back bar and a beer garden full of revellers, given its informal nickname as the Dingle Nightclub. But we're here to show you the places, not the people, and we can't be stopping when we've got to crawl.
Rolling. Let's just lift back the curtain and show you what's involved in compiling these routes that we've acquired a sticker along the way. So this is the very first book that I self-published, which has got some awful maps in here. Look, this is what it used to look like. A lot of fun. But when I make these routes, when we come out and we go and then film all of the routes, obviously the island book isn't out yet, and so I've got the details sort of within here, and then this is my list of pubs. You can see most people are expecting us. I like to tell everyone ahead of time, but of course we've been a little bit all over the place today because of the All-Ireland final. It's meant that we kind of jumped around into pubs before they got a little bit too busy. So we're probably about 9 pubs in, but according to this video, we've just left number 7, and we are about to head up the hill. Honestly, it feels like this is like the 10th time we've walked up a hill. So we've been going back and forth for all the pubs. We're going to walk up the hill, and next we will show you Curran's, where we actually bumped into some lovely Americans earlier who already followed the channel. And it was a great pub, so have a look. I hate pubs in shops, but I love a shop in a pub. It's Foxy John's. It's pub number 8 on our Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint and a screw.
I suppose this many pubs in, you'd expect most people to be hammered in a pub, but this one takes it to the extreme, as half of it is still a working hardware store, where you can buy bits of twine, rat poison, super glue, tubs of varnish, and if you're lucky, probably get a screw. But that's not why we're here. We're here for beer, and I was treated to a pint of Guinness poured by their owner John John, who was named after one of the original proprietors, because like him, he's also Foxy. Now, although the date of the building is unknown, it's probably been a pub for over 100 years, and through the doors, along the uneven floors, there's an enclosed beer garden that means when the sun's out, get the pints in, or perhaps you fancy sneaking into this private bar. And whilst there's a few pubs in this part of the world that retain their roots as shops at the heart of the community, there's nowhere quite like this. Next time you're near, stop here for a beer.
And then, yeah, it's up to you. It's all right, here you go. Look, we've got the boss here. So this is one of the most famous pubs in Dingle. I was definitely told to come here. It's not often you see a shop in a pub, a hardware store.
No, not as much anymore, no. But they were very common up until the 90s. But by the 90s, then they started to disappear. Mainly there were bars and groceries. But there was all concepts, bars, butcher stores, bars, undertakers, every kind of it.
Oh, I get the undertaker. So we've got John here, who's the boss. I get the undertaker because he used to keep the bodies in the cellar because it was cold, right?
They passed a law, yeah.
But
any bars that had a cellar, when they had a surplus of dead bodies, the bars would have to take them with cellars. So that's where.
Oh, okay, that's where it came from. So, but I can't imagine a butcher's in a pub. Surely not.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, more stands up until 21 or 2 years ago.
Okay.
Guys drinking whiskey and glasses of Guinness on one side, and then all the carcasses are hanging around and everything. Your man would go from the bar over to cutting meat. Then.
Oh no, that's crazy.
How are you doing? You John?
I am, yeah. I'll be with you in a minute there. And just finishing it.
But yeah, how long tell us about the pub? Tell us about this place.
So that's my father there, and he took over from Foxy John. Foxy John initially leased the place in 1933, and he bought it in 1938 and turned it to, originally it was a bar and a bakery. The big fireplace inside there was a bakery oven, and then he turned it into a hardware in 1938. It's been a bar and a hardware since, so it's in the family since 1933. Yeah. I'm the third generation then, so I was named after Foxy John.
That's because his nickname's Foxy.
He had red hair. The red hair didn't pass down to me. I missed the red hair.
Oh, well, it's a great pint of Guinness. Thanks so much for showing us around. It's really good, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
So the more observant would have noticed that wasn't actually the pub that I said was going to come up next. That's because I decided to switch up the route. That's the wonder of doing these routes kind of on the fly. We've got a bit of prep, but also we're making them up as we go along so we can show you the very best pubs. Decided to hit Foxy John's first, and the reason we did that is I hate walking past a good pub, even if I do have to double back afterwards to go to it. So we just finished at Foxy John's, and now our next pub, look where it is. It's only over here. So that is now going to be the video that you'll see. Wonderful Currans with our wonderful American friends. Let's go.
Irish pubs are like none others anywhere in the world.
It's Curran's. It's pub number 8 on the Dingle route. And I think there's a pint waiting for me. Let's go and see.
It opened in 1871 as a general store, which has remained virtually unchanged since the 1940s. And whilst they might weigh you a bag of sweets or try and sell you a flat cap, that's not why we're here. We're here for beer. And when they tell me that they pour one of the best pints around, how's this Englishman going to complain? Now, there was just so much to see here that it was like stepping back to the Second World War, when you can just imagine that provisions were being purchased on one side of the room whilst they were pouring pints on the other. And like a lot of these pubs, there's always an excuse to tuck yourself away in a rickety old snug. But how could I do that when these wonderful Americans, who recognised me from the socials, were more than happy to share some of the best tips for my upcoming trips around Boston, USA? And who cares where you're from when this is the destination?
We are rolling.
Right. Well, it's the penultimate pub. We just left Kennedy's. We are going to come back and have a look at that later because there'll be some music on. Of course, you've probably just seen that in the video. And we also want to go and check it out when it's dark because there was a power cut here once, and ever since then, they've never switched the lights on. So when it gets dark, it's all by candlelight. It's Kennedy's. It's pub number 10 on our Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
From the outside, this is without a doubt one of the most distinctive pubs in the town. But it didn't become a licensed premises until the 1930s, when the Murphy and Kennedy families gave it a brief run as a grocery store and a pub before closing and converting it into a family home. And even though it was reopened in 2014 by the grandson of the original owners, it still feels like you're sitting in someone's lounge. But back to the bar, where this superstar frantically made his way through an extensive cocktail list in front of an adoring audience, enthralled by his charm and his banter. And not all heroes wear capes, because for the purpose of this video, I creepily watched on from this tiny snug in darkness before it was time to enjoy my whiskey sour. And since we're 10 pubs in, today's assistant Luke got a treat with a chocolate martini. Now this place was so nice, we came here twice, and rumour has it that one day when there was a power cut, they never switched the electrics back on, meaning that most of this building is exclusively illuminated by candlelight. But let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story.
We're going to end up to McCarthy's, but look, we're at the top of the hill, so this is the picturesque kind of main strip of Dingle. We can see all of the flags, all from the All-Ireland final. Everyone has been absolutely buzzing about this today. We're going to go to the penultimate pub. We did already film the last one, so this is actually number 12 for us. It's number 11 on the route, but it's number 12 today. And that they just gave us a cocktail. So, it's so much fun. I'm so tired now. I got hardly any sleep last night, and it was hangover sleep. Let's get to McCarthy's, and we will roll that video now.
The crawl never ends when you're drinking with friends.
It's McCarthy's. It's pub number 11 on the Dingle route. Are we going to get a pint? Hey!
With John McCarthy purchasing these premises in 1867, it's got a fair claim as the oldest continually operating pub in Dingle. Although it did briefly close for a couple of years from 2015 in time for a renovation and a relaunch, so let's not let the truth get in the way of a good story. And despite the disputes about the age, its tiny whiskey bar does its best to keep up with the trend of shops in pubs that you can find throughout this town. But back to the bar, and I of course got myself another pint of Guinness before further exploring this pub, whose battered old Joanna and stage in the back room makes it the perfect place as a live music venue, even though, like a lot of the pubs here, it feels like some London developer looks at this layout and wants to rip it apart and split an extortionate rent between 12 grads. Well, as much fun as we were having at the expense of this Londoner who had a book of English pubs exploring Ireland, it was time to leave and join the parade celebrating Kerry's big win.
Right, it's time for the final pub, which they say you can find opposite the church, but of course it's not the pub opposite the church, it's the church opposite the pub. It's Dick Macks coming up now, and then we're going to wrap up the final video right in the melee of everyone who's celebrating the win. I do.
When every influencer says this is Ireland's best pub, who am I to argue?
You asked for it. It's the famous Dick Macks, and it's pub number 12 on the Dingle route. Let's go and get a pint.
Yep, that's right. Almost every Irish social media pub influencer has been to this iconic pub, so why not let this Londoner have a crack? Well, it was opened in 1899 by the station master of the local light railway, Tom MacDonald, who also used the premises as a tanner's. And bizarrely, you can still see this happening today, with the obvious queue of Americans spending more on their belts than they would do on their beers. But I know where my priorities lie, and that's not why we're here. We're here for beer. And it was a baker's dozen as I rounded out the route with yet another pint of plain. Now, when Tom's son Richard took over the pub, it received its famous moniker from his nickname, with the extra K added for artistic flair. And as as stunning as this pub is throughout, it feels almost like a village on a plot of land that contains its own brewery and a limited capacity which just about manages to service the local area. The yard is full of kegs, and the pretty beer garden features a walk of fame to commemorate the many visiting stars and filmmakers that have rocked up at this world-renowned venue. But unfortunately today, they had to put up with this legend in his own lunchtime, and the route never ends when you're drinking with friends.
Well, that's it, crawlers. Today's route around Dingle comes to a conclusion. Now, thanks for sticking with us, because the videos have chopped and changed a little bit, partly because we've had to change some of the order that we were filming the pubs in, largely because of this chaos that's happening here, because Kerry won the All-Ireland Gaelic football at the weekend, and everything has been absolutely bonkers. I've loved Dingle. It's been amazing. People told me, you have to come to Dingle. If you're going to come to pubs in Ireland, you have to come to Dingle. I've seen PrimeMutton come here. I've seen the Guinness guru come here. My friend Cassie Stokes has been here. And I've even spotted my other friend Ali Dudworth's book in one of the pubs here. So I know that this is the place for anyone who loves Irish pubs to come. And it's been just as beautiful as I thought it was. Every one of the pubs is a banger. I loved it. We're going to be here now for, it's 8:30. So we started at 12, we've gone 8.5 hours. The team is now turned up. We've seen a marching band. The celebrations are going to kick off very much late into the night. The team apparently all staying in the rooms next to where we are in our hotel. So that's going to be really noisy. And I think I'm going to go back to some of those pubs again, off the record, and go and enjoy a few pints. Thank you very much for joining us, and please stick around to see where we go next on this channel and buy the books. Right, I'm done. Let's come party.